I pledge allegiance to the imperial conglomerate and the ideal for which I know it stands, and to the aspects of existence for which I are, for the republic in which all nations stand, indivisible, undefinable, inquantifiable, for it is that I are, and I. Viro, Draco, Algata, est inuentia, est divinia, est honor, est sant, felicissimo, veristrata, prodigy.
Constitution of the United States? Not the people, right? Okay.
No, they didn't.
So then it's fraudulent and
That's
conspiracy.
right. That's right.
Okay. Got you on record.
There you go.
Okay. So there is no civil and
There you
constitutional
go.
law,
No,
right?
it's a matter of enfranchisement.
So there is no civil and constitutional law, right?
As the country moved forward, there was enfranchisement.
So there's no civil and constitutional law.
But if you studied anything other than your own thought patterns, you'd
because
know
where did I go to
that's how
school?
it happened.
Where did I go to school?
I have no idea
Precisely.
where you went to school.
So there is no civil and constitutional law, is there? According to what you just said.
There is, but we're not talking about whether there is or isn't.
Yes, we
we're
are.
talking about how it was
You
created.
can't even tell me who wrote it.
We're talking about how it was created.
You can't even tell me who wrote it. Who wrote it?
Which portion?
The first sentence. Okay. Now, what does the first sentence establish?
What? What does it establish?
I'm asking you. You refuse to listen to me. What does we the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish?
Nothing.
Let the record stand.
Let the record stand.
Okay, this is Lord Barrister High Cardinal Jin. Lord Barrister High Colonel Jin Huang McHugh. We are recording this conversation, correct?
I'm sorry?
We are recording this conversation, correct?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Do you have any questions for me? It looks like you requested, you called us recently, you requested a call back. You have some questions about Comcast policy, data usage policy, is that right?
Yeah, there was an international paramilitary law violation where you tried to amend a contract without standard and without permission by adding data rates to something that you have no control or control over. High frequent.
What are you talking about? Did you?
Adding data rates to the charge of the contract without negotiation is a breach of international law, not to mention federal and civil and constitutional law. Not to mention that the fact that the way that you would measure the data rates has nothing to do with what you actually do, because what you do is you broadcast a frequency, which is why it's measured in bandwidth. And then the data rate is how much that the equipment absorbs. And there is no reason for you to ever charge for that.
Well, I'm sorry about that. Appreciate your input, but the problem is that policy is subject to change.
It's a contract or it's not a contract. You're either doing it under standard or you're not. You either violate the contract and you do what you're saying you're doing, and then there's no reason for me to pay. There's no contract for me to pay. Or you can leave it the way it is and you can continue with proper service and payment.
Again,
International paramilitary law, civil and constitutional law, Lord Barrister High Colonel Jin Wang McHugh. I'm telling you my authority. I'm being as polite as I possibly can, considering the offenses that are being imposed. So all I'm asking is that we maintain the contract, you don't amend it, you don't pretend like there's a reason for you to, because there isn't one. And we continue on with our contract, as was originally both agreed to by both parties. Amending the contract without a standard is unconstitutional, internationally.
did you read your contract, sir?
It was verbal. It's written,
Okay.
it's not written, it's spoken.
Sir, I would recommend go on Comcast homepage. On the bottom, you can see under terms and conditions.
International law, federal civil constitutional law. You cannot amend a contract without standard or communication. Otherwise, it's not a contract. By definition, under standard through practice. That's what a contract is.
It's not correct because it was communicated. It was communicated.
It doesn't matter if it's communicated. If it's sacrilege and blasphemy, it's sacrilege and blasphemy.
Policy is subject to change, and that's what happens.
Yes, but you have to negotiate. That's why it's a contract. Without negotiation, it's not a contract. It's rape and jihad. By definition, under standard, international, imperial, federal, celestial, divine court, civil and constitutional law. I'm telling you what it is.
It's very simple. It's very simple. Policy is subject to change. If you don't like it, you have some other options.
You are being recorded. This is being recorded, and you will be stated as breaking civil, constitutional law, international, imperial law. This is rape, this is jihad, this is sacrilege and blasphemy. It's being recorded. It will be posted.
I'd like to tell you that you have an option. You have an option to add unlimited data plan, which costs additional $50, and it looks like you used 2 courtesy months already. November, December. That's when you exceeded monthly data usage.
I didn't exceed monthly data usage. You broke contract.
I'm sorry, sir. Let me finish because it's very important. I want you to avoid additional charges in January. If you
Appreciate it.
Before January 1st, you can avoid. If you call us on January 1st, it will be already too late for January, and they might charge you for additional data usage. Okay? So,
how much to keep my original contract?
If you have questions about your contract, your plan, your package, you need to talk really to billing. I'm not in billing. I'm just calling you to explain data usage policy and how it works and how to avoid additional charges.
So you realize, so what is the additional charge if, first of all, you can't control data usage. First of all, why are you charging for it? What is your legal right to do so? If you have that authority, you explain that to me now, considering what data usage actually implies. IBM Big Blue Mel Technologies Prodigy.
Of course, we don't control. We can control customer data usage. Of course not. But what we can control, high data usage, and we can't really control it. No, it's wrong. We can charge.
No, all you do, by definition, under standard through practice, what you do is you supply a frequency through a high frequency generator receiver. And for that, you supply the contract where I pay you a certain amount and you continue to broadcast. The way that I take that frequency and then transmit it into whatever terminal I'm using has nothing to do with you. There is no reason for you to be charging for that.
Because every company...
High frequency generator receiver. Army Ranger White Noise Project.
You finished, so I can answer.
Yes, please stop interrupting me. What you do is you supply a frequency through a high-frequency generator receiver, and then you establish a contract with people in order to pay for access to that frequency. You charging for the data consumption of that frequency is not your responsibility. You supply the frequency, by definition, under standard through contract. International, imperial, federal, celestial, civil, and constitutional court. Law. That is what you do, by definition. Lord Barrister, High Colonel Jin Wang McHugh, International Paramilitary Operation.
Questions?
It will be posted.
Okay, sir. I'd like to say that every company, internet service providers like Comcast, constantly improving network. So that's... Of course, we need to maintain network.
That has nothing to do with you.
Sure.
You broadcast, you make sure that there is a broadcast. The way that it is consumed is up to the consumer, not you.
Okay, so you think it has nothing to do with service we provided to you?
Is that what I said? Because I have a recording. Are you perjuring yourself in a court of law? Are you perjuring yourself in a court of law?
Do you have any questions for me? Because it seems like you keep
Yes.
repeating the same thing.
Do you have a standard under which that you can even... There is no way that you can control data consumption. You trying to charge me for data consumption has nothing to do with your service. How'd you expect to establish a measure if there is no control? That's scientific fact.
Incorrect.
What's the word? What's the practice?
It's incorrect. We can't control. We're providing services to you.
Yes, you provide a frequency. That's all. It's a bandwidth. You do not control the way that I consume the bandwidth. You provide the bandwidth.
We don't provide frequencies. We provide
So you say you don't even know what you do.
Well, if you don't have any more questions,
So you realize that there is no contract, you have no standard, and you have no right to do any additional charges to my contract. International, Imperial, Federal, Celestial, Divine Court, Civil and Constitutional Law. You have established that, it is recorded, and it will be posted.
input, I disagree with your statement, but that's totally up to you. And please, if you decide to add unlimited data option, call us before January 1st. All right, sir?
So you have no intelligence as to what you're doing whatsoever, a standard under which you're doing it.
No issue. It's policy that
It's not policy. By definition, under standard through practice, what contract means. That is not policy. What do you think law means? Do you even have that intelligence? Do you know what law means? You're perjuring yourself in court. This is treason at this point.
I see, sir. I understood.
Mutiny, usurping.
All right, sir.
So at the very least, you want to say that they put you in the wrong position and you don't have the intelligence to carry on this conversation? Would you like to say that?
Internet service providers charging for, I would say all major internet service providers charging for data usage. Please, sir.
No, they supply frequency. It's a matter of interpretation versus translation. Suit 26.
Services.
You provide services, yes, but you cannot provide services. You cannot charge for services you don't provide. You charging for the consumption of the bandwidth that you provide is not your responsibility. You provide the bandwidth. That's the radio frequency. You do not control the radio. You control the broadcast of the radio.
Network. What about devices? What about keep it up to date and constantly upgrade network?
I already fixed that with Reaganomics. Yancy Reagan, Bradford Tomas McHugh, Lord Barrister, High Colonel Jin Huang McHugh. I already did that.
But I can't modify policy. That's what it is.
So you're going to leave it the way it is because by definition, under standard, you have no reason to change the contract and you have no permission there to do. It is posted, it is being recorded. You do not have the right to change the contract by your own word and own admission. This is what you're establishing, it will be posted.
No. Sir, I'm not sure why you need me on the phone. You can just post anything you want.
Well, this is your responsibility and accountability. I know what you're supposed to do. I'm establishing standards and practices again. Because I did this in New York, I did it in California, I did it in Alaska. This is not the first time. Lord Barrister, High Colonel Jin Huang McHugh. Army.
But Understood. Do you have any other questions? I can
So
answer.
to at least have the intelligence to understand that you have established you have no right to change my established contract. And there is no reason for you to charge for data rate consumption. You understand that now, right? Because you have established that in international court.
We already discussed that. I appreciate your input. I have opposite opinion.
Opinion doesn't count into it, it's fact. Do you understand that? Because at this point, it's their dereliction of putting you in the position of not understanding the position that they put you in.
Notice
This
it's
is
not
what you're
confused.
establishing.
Understood.
Okay.
Understood. I understood your opinion. Okay. Do you have any other questions?
Rules of engagement, standards and practices, weights and measures, quality control. No, you didn't.
Any other questions?
It's perjury. Vocabulary.
Sorry about your.
I'm sorry they keep on putting you in this position. Can you at least admit that you don't have, that you are not in the position or the intelligence to handle this problem? Can you at least admit that?
I can admit that policy is subject to change.
No, that is not what, this is court now. This is not what was asked. You lost that privilege. Can you at least admit that you are not the intelligence with the authority to handle this situation? Can you admit that?
Sure, what situation you talking about? The policy change?
Law.
Modified policy.
International civil constitutional law. Infractions. I'm trying to keep you from committing treason. This will be
Nothing to do
tasty.
with international law. Absolutely nothing.
Everything. Since World War I, Part 2, you're not paying attention.
You're a little bit confused. This is service, we provide internet service provider, just like cell phone company providing cell phone service, or some other companies providing different kind of services.
So you do not have the intelligence or the authority to establish how or why you can charge for data rate consumption, considering it has nothing to do with what you do. And you do not have the intelligence or authority to establish anything, other than that you're supposed to push the fact that you don't agree with anything I say. This is International Imperial Federal Celestial Civil and Constitutional Court. It will be posted.
Have a nice day now.
C-26 reporting in.
Bye-bye now.
Slava safe journey, decency and respect, international policy. Imperiatum conglomeratus. Are you still there?
Just waiting for you to end the call, or are you waiting for me?
You initiated the sequence. It isn't mine to end. Etiquette, order of operations, rules of engagement, standards and practices, weights and measures, quality control. Su-26 reporting in.
Okay.
Army Ranger, XCOMs.
Do you have any
Devout zealot.
before we end? I'm sorry?
Devout zealot. Sin Eater, Confessor, Inquisitor. Shaolin, Vatican Dragon. Detective, Inspector, Inspector, Detective. DOD, CIA, 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 FBI, FDA, DOH, Secret Service, Treasury Department. Rules of engagement, standards and practices, weights and measures. Civil and constitutional law, international imperial law. In order to have a contract, there must be a standard under which the agreement is made. If you break the standard, there is no contract, there is no agreement. International imperial federal law.
Serenity. It's part 1 through 2.